What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And yeah, when it comes to Dave Filoni, you know things are bad when Disney, Star Wars, and your name are trending right next to each other. That should tell you everything you need to know, okay? That, yeah, when Disney Star Wars is trending, that's not good for your franchise. You want Star Wars to be trending, not Disney Star Wars. I don't recall Disney Star Wars trending when Andor was out. Not to say that it never happened. I just don't recall Disney Star Wars trending when Andor was out. I recall Disney Star Wars trending a hell of a lot when the Book of Boba Fett was out, when Obi-Wan was out, when Mando Season 3 was out, and now with Ahsoka. This statement right here is saying something to Disney and to Lucasfilm. You guys ain't got it together. And this dude right here, Dave Filoni, look, I'ma just cut right to the chase. He's not your guy. All right? He's not your guy. He never was your guy. Your guy can't be, look, he's good in animation, okay? Dave Filoni was fine in animation. He needs to go over there and stay there. He is not your guy when it comes to live action. Remember, I said on the last time on that question, can Star Wars be saved? I said on that video, and I'll link it above if you didn't see it. I said, you got to save Star Wars in the theaters, all right? Star Wars is a theatrical franchise. It's going to be saved in theaters. It's not going to get saved on Disney Plus. In order to do that, you need a writer that can write live action. Dave Filoni can't write live action. He can't do it. All right. Don't pretend that he can. He cannot. All right. He has shown that. He showed it during The Mandalorian on some of the episodes he wrote. Everybody was like, ooh, well, he's just kind of learning. But it was like, ooh, yeah, this ain't too hot. Yeah, Dave can't do it. Look, I ain't got nothing against the man. All right. You know, I have nothing against him personally. I don't know him, obviously. He's probably a real cool guy. Seen him at Celebration from time to time. Looks like a affable gentleman. You can sit back, crack some jokes, laugh with him. He seems like a nice person. He cannot write. All right. He cannot write live action. And they need to pull that entire experiment and just, hey, back to the Bad Batch with you. All right. And you can sit back and create all kinds of great animated content that will connect some of the movies to, you know, some of the other things that we're doing in live action. But you are off of live action, buddy. Again, this guy cannot get the job done. Now they talking this shit. Ahsoka season 2 is reportedly in early development. There's no chance. All right. There's no way that this show gets made. There's no way that this thing continues if Lucasfilm knows what it's doing. All right. This was trash. This whole show, and listen, this ain't the worst thing that Disney Star Wars ever did, all right? It's not the worst thing that they've done, but I said it back at Celebration. You guys will remember. I said that Ahsoka needs to be a banger.
This is a important and very, very important show for Star Wars at this point. I think Ahsoka has to be the best thing that they've done because they plan on carrying all of these Rebels characters, okay? Like everybody from Rebels is out on this thing, so they gotta stick the landing with this particular show. Okay, first season has to be a dynamite, slam bang, action packed, show. Because if it's not, and it's getting the same kind of reception as Book of Boba Fett and this season of Mandalorian, all right, it's a wrap. Okay, Filoni did mention as well that they're tapping directly into heir to the Empire. He said it straight up, like we're meeting with Timothy Zahn right after this. So they're going right to heir of the Empire, which they should have done right from the very beginning. It's just hilarious how they disbanded the entire EU, right? They just kind of say, we don't need the EU, and now they're dipping their toe right back into the EU, which again shows that all Disney had to do from the very beginning was just follow the bouncy ball. They would have been just fine. They didn't have to shit can the entire EU in order to tell their stories, all right, because nobody's buying this crap. So now they're going directly into the EU, but it's really going to come down to what Ahsoka is able to do. Filoni has to stick to landing with this particular series. Even like Rosario Dawson says, there's no guarantee of a season 2. She said, yeah, I kind of hope the season works out so that we can get a season 2. Which there's no guarantee of that, which is, the first season has to be, dynamite. So we'll see what happens, but
it needs to be a hit. Everything's riding on it. If it's not, you got to pull the plug. All right. This is going in the wrong direction. So there's no reason to do a season 2. All right. You got to pull the plug on this. Dave Filoni is working on it. Dave Filoni can't work on this. He can't do it. All right. He's not that dude. Dave Filoni is not that guy. He's not the creative force for Star Wars. He's not what Star Wars needs. He might be good again in doing some animation or whatever. But this whole show, it came off like fan fiction. You cannot have your franchise be fan fiction, and not even good fan fiction for that matter. It was trash. You had all of these scenes. This is what really told me that this cat don't know what he's doing. You had all of these scenes that are supposed to show our heroes in some kind of moral peril. Remember? Now, I'm not going to play it because they'll nail me for the copyright. Then I can't put the video up. But you guys remember this scene, right? With Ahsoka, okay? And they were in the space mines, you know, in episode 7, when all the space mines were out there and, you know, they were dumping and dodging and, you know, man, we're going to make it. All right. You remember this scene? At no point in time were you scared. At no point in time were you worried. Again, these are characters. They're supposed to be in mortal peril. All right. Their lives are on the line. There's mines blowing up all around them. Were you scared for 1 second? No, you weren't. Okay. Because Dave Filoni doesn't know how to write that kind of scene for live action. You know, at no point in time, it was just something to see. It was just something to see for 2 or 3 minutes. It was just, oh yeah, look at this, explosion, a rise of thrilling music. And that's it. That's what this guy is bringing to the table. Get out of here. Or again, how about this scene, right? Where Sabine and Ezra are on the run, you know, rolling alongside the little turtle people in their little pods or whatever. And they're shooting back and the enemy is, and at no point in time did you feel that there was anything that was going to happen to them, okay? I didn't even think a turtle person was going to bite it. They should have at least did that, but they didn't even do that. Again, that's the kind of writing that Dave Filoni is bringing to Star Wars. You guys think Dave Filoni is going to save Star Wars? Are you kidding me? This guy can't even get this series right. And this is a series that was straight up just laid out for him on a red carpet. Okay, because people love the character of Ahsoka. So all you had to do, scrap this Rebel Season 5 shit. Tell me a good story about Ahsoka. He couldn't do it. All right. This man doesn't have the ability to tell a good story. He might have all the material that's there. He can't tell the story. Yeah, let's not forget this particular scene, right? That just happened in episode 8. Yeah, Thrawn is like, yeah, rain fire down on him from the Star Destroyer, right? They're sitting up there shooting and trying to kill him, and they didn't touch anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just sat there and shot. Explosions all around them. Nothing. You, at no point in time did you think anything was going to happen to these cats. It was going to be smooth sailing all the way to the door. Ezra, open the door. Sabine, help him. How does Sabine help him? She can't use the Force. That hasn't been established. Well, we're trying to establish it now. Well, why don't you establish it when it's important for this character, like early on? Why can't you write, Dave? God. Oh, and then look, this was the worst one. This is the one where I just laughed out loud. Now, you guys will remember this scene. You got Morgan Elsbeth, right? Morgan Elsbeth, all by herself. Yeah, she got the sword of Talzin. And who comes in but Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine, all with lightsabers, okay? All presumably can use the Force, all right? And what does Ahsoka say? Yeah, let's split up. No, you guys go ahead. I got this. I'll handle this. You know, we got to stop Thrawn. You guys go ahead and stop Thrawn. I'll deal with her. And it's like, wait a second. She's by herself, okay? I got a better idea. Why don't the 3 of us gang up on her, all right? We'll probably kill her in like 15 seconds, and then all 3 of us can go and stop Thrawn. There was no reason to split up at this point. There was no reason. I've never understood people that split up, but you know, sometimes it's like, okay, like remember in Phantom Menace, you know, when Darth Maul pops up and you got Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and then Padme and them like, yeah, this ain't our fight. Let's get up out of here. Yeah, because these are all Jedi, okay? These are Jedi versus Jedi, Sith, whatever, Force users. We have no business being there. But even then, I was like, yeah, shoot that dude. Everybody open fire, you know? Let Darth Maul try to fend all of that off while Obi-Wan and them are coming at him from the side. We'll take him out in no time flat. I've never understood this shit. Like, yeah, go ahead, gang up on her. All 3 of us can use the Force. Ahsoka can hold her down with the Force, all right? Sabine and Ezra can just chop her up into sushi. All right, let's go get Thrawn. That's it. But again, this is the kind of stuff that pisses me off about Star Wars sometimes. Like, simple, easy, paint by numbers writing, it just eludes these guys, okay? They're more interested in, oh, we got to have this great face-off once again between Ahsoka. It's like they, oh, look at all 3 of them. Lightsabers are at the ready. It's just her by herself. Kill her. And then go fight Thrawn. I would have enjoyed that a lot more. This took me completely out. I was like, the rest of this show, I was just sitting there like, and look, the Rotten Tomato score, this thing has been steadily dropping, okay? over the course of this show, episode by episode, it's just been coming down little by little. All right, now we're sitting at 72%, still a decent score, but I think this thing was in the 90s. All right, it was in the upper 90s, and now it's at 72. That tells you everything you need to know. All right, people are not feeling this show whatsoever. And look at this guy, 1 star. Unfortunately, the series is laughably bad. Everything from the story, the acting, the plot holes, the unfamiliarity of the characters. This is a big one, the unfamiliarity of the characters. I asked somebody today, if you had never watched Rebels or Clone Wars, would you care about any of these characters? Oh, no. And this is a person that likes Ahsoka. He says, I wouldn't even watch this show. I would have no context. There would be no emotional connection for me to caring about these characters whatsoever if I had never watched Clone Wars or Rebels. All right. And that's what you need. You need that emotional connection. Why should I care about anything that's happening? You have to have that. And there was nothing in this show that made people, or the story or anything that makes people care. Why should they fear Thrawn? You know, they waited 6 episodes before finally showing the villain of the entire series. Think about that. We didn't have a villain for 5 episodes until we finally get him in episode 6. You know, and he's a shell of the former villain that we all knew. It's terrible. Like, how do you have a show run the entire gamut, almost the entire season, and the antagonist barely shows up? And then when he shows up, he's kind of a wet noodle. Like, Dave, he's not the guy. Dave can't write this stuff. The frustratingly slow pace of the actors' movements, let alone dialogue. Here's the thing, okay? Let me tell you why both of these parts is directly related to Dave Filoni and animation, okay? You're talking about the slow pace of the actors' movement and their dialogue. Now, Filoni wrote animation, okay? He's from the animation world. He was an animator, I believe, as well, okay? So he understands the ebb and flow of animation. It has a certain vibe to it, you know, the way you write it, you know, and then he can tell his animators, hey, this is the way these characters, all right? Because it's talking about the actors' movements, right? So he could tell the animators, hey, we need to move like this. It needs to move like this. This character should behave this way, that way, all right? He could convey that to an animator who could just animate that out. Again, he's an animator speaking the language of animators, so he can convey that information. Now try to get a actor to do that. An actor that doesn't come from that type of a background and just like, okay, you want me to act how? You want me to stand which way? Okay. That's probably why he just had Rosario Dawson just standing there with her arms folded the whole time, because they couldn't speak that same language, okay? He comes from the animation world. Now, the second part is the same problem. The dialogue, okay? Why did this dialogue feel wooden? Well, in my opinion, it's the same kind of dialogue Filoni has always told, all right? But he had, you know, expert professional voice actors for animation that are used to punching that stuff up with a lot of emotion. That's why I said Ashley Eckstein would have crushed this, all right? Because she would have she has Ahsoka living in her soul. She knows Ahsoka. She would have done 10 times a better job. Nothing away from Rosario Dawson. I'm not taking anything away from her. But Ashley Eckstein would have crushed it because she would have had the voice, obviously. But she understands, okay, this is the way Dave Filoni writes, all right? And I know I need to inflect here, punch this up here, you know? You ever see, like, voice actors? You know, when they're going through their bit, all right? They're voice actors, and, you know, you see them behind the screens. They got the little, you know, earpiece over, and they're just reading the dialogue. But you ever see how they inflect and how they put a lot of emotion into every word, all right? They have to, okay? Because that's what voice actors do. They have to act through the voice. You don't have their faces or their facial features to kind of get and convey what the emotions are. So they do it all through their voices, and they're experts at it. So voice actors are great with working with, you know, kind of the dialogue that Dave was writing in Ahsoka. Shit, James Arnold Taylor and, you know, Sam Witwer, they probably would have came in here and, oh yeah, this is how you need to act in this part. You know, yeah, we understand Dave's writing. We know how Dave writes. Yeah, you got to put a lot of oomph and this and that into it. That's the difference. He had regular actors, all right? And it seems like Ray Stevenson, at least because of his type of character, he was able to pull it off. But Sabine, like I said, Sabine didn't even feel like Sabine. And it's like, why? Because Sabine, the actress, I think it's Natasha Bordullo or something like that, she couldn't pull it off. I don't know if she does voice acting or not. But live action and voice acting are different. And Dave is still writing voice acting or dialogue for voice actors. And they punch it up and they do a lot more with it than these, you know, regular live action actors. So that's why I said Dave needed to hire somebody that knows how to write for live action. This is a squandered series. The villains carry the entire show. Depth, logic, discipline, success by their own actions. They're fascinating characters and offer very interesting pathways for future lore. Then there's the Jedi, the protagonists with weighted die. Their success is 100% dependent on the writers. Man, this person nails it. They're stiff, dumb, arrogant, and win every time for no other reason than the deus ex machina written into the script for them, usually through some random fauna that exists for no reason. Let's see here. My wife and I have taken to waving our hands and yelling space whales whenever the protagonists are handed a win for no reason other than their general existence. This riskless existence means there's no tension in action scenes because they're predetermined to succeed. It's just like I said. I hadn't read this, by the way. This is my first time reading this stuff. All right. And they said exactly what I just said, which makes the action scenes an absolute waste of the viewer's time and a general insult to their intelligence. Nonsense show. Give me Thrawn the series. Let the Jedi take a backseat for once so we can manifest some actual tension and intrigue. Boo this series, boo Space Whale. I mean, again, I don't even think he should be handling Thrawn. You know, they should bring Timothy Zahn in there, get him a real writer, and then let Timothy Zahn, adapt Heir to the Empire. Dave Filoni can't do this. He is about to ruin it. Again, I would pull the plug on the whole thing at this point. All right. In my opinion, the only person that should be touching Disney Star Wars or Star Wars at this point out of the current collection of actual creators is Tony Gilroy. Tony Gilroy and nobody else. All right. Let Tony Gilroy, I would let him honestly head up creativity over Star Wars. All right. I would give, and I've said this before, give Tony Gilroy the keys. He at least knows how to tell stories. And he is familiar enough with the universe now that he can turn it into something. Dave is not that guy. Everybody pull the plug on that. Dave will never, ever save Star Wars. There's no chance of that. If you hand it over to Tony Gilroy and say, hey, Tony, you got the keys. Figure this out for us. We have no clue what's doing. It's clear as day. We have no clue what we're doing. Maybe Tony Gilroy can save this shit. All right. But yeah, as far as this, I don't see Dave saving Star Wars. Not for 1 second. Not at all. And it's getting lonely up here on Star Wars Hill. Remember, I told you I'm going to die on Star Wars Hill. But it's getting lonely up here, man. I feel like I'm up here by myself now. A couple of other folks are like, yeah, I still like it. It's like, man, it's less people as I look around. I want Star Wars to be saved. And I'm going to sit here until it is. But Dave ain't the dude. Dave is not the guy, all right? He got his opportunity and he dropped the ball. So that's it for Dave Filoni. I don't want to hear that shit no more, okay? This dude will never save Star Wars. But you guys let me know what you think. Were you satisfied with Ahsoka, all right? Do you think Dave should be given a second chance? Do you think he should be given a second season? Or is it a wrap for this dude, all right? You guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.